Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Play Blue Stinger. In the last part, we ventured through a good bit of the lab area, and Eliot's looking a little worse for wear, as you can tell. And now we're hopefully going to go try and cure him. Now, you might remember those life hooks we got, I think, about 2 or 3 parts ago now, right before the power plant. They can still be found and used often around here, as if you get knocked off this very tiny platform by any of these vines/tentacles, well, you're going to end up using one. So be careful, tread carefully, use the napalm smartly. Keep in mind, bullet drop exists with the napalm, as I showed off there twice. Honestly, given this game's tone, I'm kind of sad there's not another costume mode, kind of like the swimsuit mode I mentioned a part or two ago now, where every time you, or while you play the entire game, Eliot looks like this. Maybe there's even a monster version of dogs, Janine and Nephilim. And then they replace the monsters with either the most vanilla shit, or they go even more out there in designs. Like, instead of, like, the standard dinosaur zombies, maybe we have werewolf dinosaur zombies. Go all sci-fi original movie on them. That could have been hilarious. Now, we could go over to that door over there to reach the entire little end of this section, but I instead first want to follow these pipes. Now, where I'm going, there's technically another way to get to, so I actually could have gotten the little reward we're going to find over here another way. But I find this is the best time to unlock this whole section. Also, that rock there, if I'm correct, has no way to be destroyed or pushed. This is the only way you can actually make your way over to here, is always via pipe. The first thing we can find over here is the power mixer. This is Eliot's best physical attack weapon in the game in terms of pure damage. With that said, it's also pretty limited. Instead of other melee weapons for Eliot where you have like a 1-2-3 combo or something of the sort, this is a one-and-done attack per combo. With that said, it literally blends the hell out of enemies. It does a lot of damage. It also sends a lot of blood particles all over the place, and since it's a relatively low-to-the-ground weapon, it can also hit lower enemies. With that said, just due to combo potential, I still prefer the Ray Sword or even the Iron Fists. But you also want to go up the stairs behind it, because that allows you to unlock these 2 doors and create a shortcut through other parts of the lab, namely the section right before the stairs, where we found the ventilation room key a few parts ago, alongside the parts near the elevator room. That shortcut cuts out about 30 to 40 seconds of backtracking every time, so hey, I ain't gonna complain. Mind if there's one thing I can say about Blue Stinger that I'm legitimately impressed by. For the era, the load times are pretty good. There's not much to load in each part of this game because each room is so self-contained, yeah, but this also could have been like a Resident Evil where you have like a 20-second load time they mask with the door cutscene. Also switch to dogs for an upcoming room because his railgun's gonna come in real handy.
Eliot, please, answer me!
Janine, can you hear me? Janine?
Merry Christmas, Alexander. What's wrong with Eliot?
Well, it's a long story. He's infected by the monster cell.
Will he survive?
Depends. I've got to find the right medicine. If not, I may have to finish him off myself.
Oh, I see. My prayers are with you.
There's another thing I do like about this part of the game, though. I do legitimately like the more sympathetic angle Dog starts to take towards Eliot here. It's like, yeah, he acts like an asshole, but he can tell that Eliot's a legitimate help around here. Either way, time for another boss fight against another one of those slimes like the one we faced before. Strategy for this boss fight, though, use the railgun and stay in this little entrance hallway, as the slime, whenever you hit it, especially right in the core with the railgun, runs away a little bit. So as long as you keep a good pace of fire, it'll either slowly move down into this part where you are, or it won't get a chance to do much. The jump's where it probably will get the biggest chance to get over to you, and even then, you can easily bait it back around the other direction. With that said, unlike the first slime we faced, this one does something different. At around the 25% mark of its health, it moves towards the center of the circled parts of the room. At that point, what it's going to do is actually a little bit similar to a certain mini-boss in Majora's Mask, in that it's going to glue itself to the ceiling. However, unlike that one where it tries to stick or try to walk above you and fall down onto you, this one becomes a giant chain-swinging ball. With that said, you can stand in this exact place still, and it can't do much about you. It can only do one thing, and you can see it right near Dogs' feet. It can spawn mini slimes that try to attack you, but either they need more numbers to attack you in any effective manner, or they respond like the original body does, in that whenever there's a railgun shot, they run for the hills. Either way, not very annoying. If you run low on ammo and you want to try and kill the other slimes, Eliot can be a good person to swap over to, but at the end of the day, just keep with the railgun. You might think you're using a lot of ammo for it, and at the end of the day, you are. But railgun ammo is really easy to buy from this point in the game onwards, I feel, as either vending machines have it regularly enough, or Hello Market isn't too far away from wherever you are. I do at least appreciate that in that regard, they keep the weapon balance in mind in this game, where the further in you get, vending machines that sell other types of ammo become more and more common. Same with vending machines that sell the higher tiered weapons. So they at least try to give you more stuff to work with. It's just whether or not you want to interact with the game enough to actually buy them. And I've definitely had playthroughs where I don't, because I just don't care. Like, the one weapon I always buy every playthrough is the railgun and the super rocket launcher. Beyond that, I maybe find things and that's it. But we needed to kill that slime for the medical lab key. In order to access the area where we can cure Eliot of his problem, we need to head over there. And as for where we want to go to do that, we need to backtrack a couple of rooms, but not too far. Roughly back to where we started the part, actually. Because the hallway that room that we climbed down into at the end of the last part connects to is where the medical room we're looking for is. In particular, it's the hallway that also connects to the aquarium that we got one of the keys in last part. But yeah, if you take a look at the timer, we added 30 minutes to that timer more accurately. But if you look at it from the starting points, where it was at a half hour minus 10 minutes, we're only at about the 17-minute mark of the original timer. So, depending on how you interact with the game, you'll have more than enough time to do this. There's a container labeled as a Vect. It says that it'll reverse the effects of Vector Slime. Do you want to drink it? Yeah, Eliot, drink it. Don't accidentally mash the stuff. The text takes its time.
Ooh, ooh, ooh.
Are you all right?
I'm fine now. I'm okay.
Oh, man. I thought I'd have to kill you.
Thanks.
So the skin color, I can understand why it turns back to normal the way it does. But what happened to all his extra appendages? Like, where did the neck teeth go? Where did the back arms go? Did they just shrink back into him and now he has, like, skin flaps where they were? Did they crumple off like dead skin? I'm asking too many questions about this game, which doesn't think them through well enough. With Eliot returning back to human, though, we can now take care of something back in this hallway where Dr. Jacobs' lab was. And I do like one thing about this part of the game as well. After you take the cure, Eliot slowly returns to normal. His skin isn't immediately back to normal, because the immediate cure would be a little bit far-fetched even for this game, probably. If anything, I think they actually start him back one step too far. I think they should have been at the step right before he grew the neck teeth. Either way, welcome to one of Dr. Jacobs' experimentation labs, which is just straight up a kennel. Thankfully, there are no dog zombies in this game. But there is a hamburger and large Hassie in here for some reason. Who was taking their lunch break in here? That's an eerie thought. Either way, the thing we want to do over here is talk to the dog in the far cell, as that's the required thing. Good dog. The clone room key is the thing we've been looking for almost this entire area, technically. As right back at the entrance to the lab, more or less, there is a locked door I didn't show off. If you had tried to talk to that dog while Eliot was all mutated, it would be afraid of you, thinking you're one of the monsters. And you know what? I get it. Good dog. Now, on the way back, because I am jump cutting a bit far back into the area now, we also got Dr. Jacob's disc earlier, and we can use that here to investigate this. Research objective, vector slime, predatory amoeba symbiotic with Jaskany, an alien organism, can be detached from Jaskany's body. Strange DNA similarities with Jaskany. Disperses bacteria to mammals to create new predatory offspring. I hereby name this creature Dinocyte. This is the closest thing to any kind of background outside of the files you can sometimes find in certain areas that are very few in number that gives you an idea what's going on. Essentially, this whole outbreak was partially caused by the meteorite, partially caused by that slime messing with people and causing them to mutate into this, and theoretically there would be more than one slime. Either way, here's the aforementioned clone room.
I think the light was coming from here.
The blue light which can't be analyzed.
Blue light.
Let's go.
Be noticing a few more jump cuts here and there. That's entirely because I cut out a save trip to the kiss room. I didn't buy anything though from memory.
What in the hell is this?
I guess this is the research Kimura Tech has been engaged in.
What are they doing with these monsters?
Who knows? There must be a report somewhere.
We'll find out.
Then we'll go to the blue light.
A science biotech company getting involved in something they probably shouldn't and causing some sort of outbreak like this? Where have I seen that before? Oh wait, that's basically every goddamn survival horror game. Either way, the thing you want to investigate in this room is not the giant obvious dinosaur in the water. It's this monster that's clearly a leftover staff member, because it not only has the Gigadent disc, but Dr. Kimura's ID. As those are key items we're going to need to be able to access certain other areas. Also, is it me, or does that thing look a little bit familiar? It's like certain visions we've seen of that thing have happened before. Either way, with using Dr. Kimura's ID, we're now suddenly in a very drastically different area. This isn't exactly what I would use for this place, but oh well. There's another door to the east of me in that area, but that leads to a place we can do nothing at if it's not locked, period, at this point, from the direction we're coming from. So we need to come down here. Welcome to my other least favorite part of the game. One of my, well, bottom three least favorite, actually. This giant climb down. We're in for about 3 to 4 minutes of just a straightforward path with enemies spammed at us like nothing else. Admittedly, you could kill them all and just make this the calmest walk in existence on the way back up, because we do need to backtrack through this eventually. But I honestly find it just more worth my time to avoid them as much as possible. Only really killing ones that drop money, which is only 2 of them, period, really. This is borderline the least interesting part of the game. Thankfully, you don't need to climb down the ladders. You can just walk off like that. But you will have to climb back up them eventually, and in that regard, some of the enemies are worth taking care of, as some of them are faster than others. I would especially recommend killing the caterpillars, as especially once you start limping from being lower on HP, they can catch up to you pretty quickly. And suddenly other monster types. This guy is one of the few I recommend killing, because as we saw when we killed Dr. Jacobs' mutation, they drop a good bit of money. Also, I just realized Dr. Jacobs was in control of himself still pretty late into the mutation process. So, what's the consistency here? Like, am I killing someone who just lost consciousness recently? Have we been killing people who are just more so asking for help the entire game? Again, I think I'm putting more thought into this than the game developers did. Or, I guess more than the writers, more accurately, because they're more likely the ones at fault in that case. Also, I should note, this hallway has the first instance of a proper slime enemy, unlike the 2 slime mini-bosses we fought thus far. I do believe I killed this one, but it's not worth interacting with them, period, as they have a lot more health than you'd expect outside of using the railgun. And they don't drop any money, and they never drop any key items from my memory either, so just avoid them. Thankfully, they're also relatively slow, so even dogs can outrun them with some amount of consistency. Also, they're one of my least favorite enemies to kill just because there's so little feedback with the railgun and the fact they're just a gelatinous mess. Flan/slime type enemies outside of like Dragon Quest and the Pink Puffs in FF4 seldom are satisfying enemies for me to fight in anything. With that said, I am kind of surprised looking back that they never made like a video game adaptation of The Blob. Because as like a survival horror game goes, that could have been an interesting one. Obviously, they would have had to play some liberties. Like, make just some blob-infested humans as the main enemies, because having the blob be the only enemy you fought through the game would be rough to do. They could probably do it with something with, like, an Alien Isolation sort of thing, but, There's a couple of horror games that can make for good video games. They already did that with The Thing once, and that only worked maybe half the time in that game. With that said, we're coming up on the end of the line in this super long set of rooms. So let's see what's going on down here near the core of the island.
This is the time when the meteor hit.
Let's check the data.
The meteorite is caught in there.
That is the source of the blue light?
It's down there.
And conveniently enough, there's an observation window right on this level where, frankly speaking, there really shouldn't be one given we're 5 layers of shuttered down as that little cinematic showed us. Don't really understand why, but oh well. There's one on every single layer.
A blue meteor!
Nephilim. What's the purpose?
Oh, it's obvious. There's something underneath there. The meteor wants to get right through it. The disk we found might tell us something. Hey, we should have Janine check this out.
The Gigadent disk.
Blue light shaped like that. I wonder if that's a blue stinger.
Santa, come in.
What would you like for a present, little girl?
Eliot, you're alive! I want you guys back here now.
Got it, sugar. I've got a present for you.
Hey, since when have you two gotten so close?
Women love a guy who'll risk his life for adventure.
Shut up, Eliot.
I wonder.
Neffy.
She has something to tell you.
She needs help.
What?
We gotta go back.
And gotta go back is right. Not only do we have to go back through this giant straight line of rooms, which I'm gonna fast forward in a moment, we also need to get all the way back to Jimneed's command center. Again. You know, if this game had a couple of different command centers that you migrated to from one point in the game to the other, that would have been probably a little better for level design, but going all the way back and forth from one central location in this game really just shows not the unoriginality of the level design, but definitely some of the blandness of it. With that said, I also just can't outright cut it out because A, there's cutscenes along the way, B, there's new stuff along the way for once. With that said, this is probably the part of the game's plot I find the most interesting to me moving forward, just because it's where things happen at a reliable pace, compared to early on where it's like, hey, let's go to a bar. Hey, let's go over here. This is the part I'm like, okay, I kind of understand the pacing of all this. But with that, I'm going to need to end this off here. Thank you guys for watching, and in part 10, we get back to the command center, slowly. See you guys then.